What's up, everybody? It is Tuesday at 2. I am one of your co-hosts, Rob Mann. With me, I have the ever temperature fluctuating Tim Walker.
Got to be prepared for all seasons.
Tim, your office seems like it is a quite fickle mistress to live in.
So to speak, yeah. You could say it that way.
Tim is sometimes really hot in there, and sometimes he's very, very cold. Today seems to be a 50-degree day in there.
But always in plaid.
Always,
well, no matter the temperature.
It makes it easy, right? You know, Steve Jobs had his black. Zuck had his T-shirt. Tim had his plaid.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty good. You're in good company there. All right. Well, we're not going to talk about Tim's wardrobe today as much as I love to. We're going to talk about tips for email marketing. As you remember, and we keep talking about, 3DIQ has this great tool to help you win new business by making the most out of your talent pools. We call it skill marketing, but it does revolve around email marketing. And we've seen some great companies and some great strategies for using your talent pools in email campaigns or SMS campaigns. And we've seen some spammy ones, if you will. We obviously are a lot happier when you're doing not spammy things, but it does happen. So let's give you some tips and tricks.
Rob, what's the best way to do email marketing in Bullhorn? If we're talking about our Bullhorn customers.
Probably Bullhorn automation.
I would say so, yeah. And that's my experience before in the olden days in the staffing industry is in recruitment marketing and doing some email campaigns, setting up email campaigns, and it's a lot easier than it used to be because there was a lot of times, I'm talking specifically about using Bullhorn automation or another automation tool inside of Bullhorn, but you used to have to always be updating lists and figuring out which clients from Bullhorn you wanted to pull into your email list in an outside program if you were unsophisticated like me, or using some Zapier automations or something like that to sync.
You were getting real fancy. You were zapping
them around. But that's a lot easier now, I think, in Bullhorn automation, and you've got a lot more experience building campaigns there historically. But one of the biggest things, no matter where you're automating or where you're emailing, is figuring out who to email to.
It's who, and then very shortly thereafter, like how and what to email them, right? So to your point, right, you have different people at different power lines in an organization, right? You have a C-suite, you have middle management, you have field level, then you have what role they're in, and if they are above and below that power line, how do you communicate with them and how you're going to get them to take action, right? So one of the great playbooks that I always like is to, if someone's below the power line, is to use them to gather information about the business so that when you go above the power line, you can say like, hey, we were just catching up with some of your colleagues and they said X, Y, and Z are problems or things facing the business. And now you can, use that to say, hey, we can guide you to how we solve it with our solution or with our staffing needs or with our team, right? So definitely a really interesting and probably one of the most important things, right, in terms of just getting it right, and then obviously looking to see if what you're doing at each level is working or each person, right? So Twilio, who owns, or this is actually a Zapier. I thought this was a Twilio article. Zapier, actually, what we're looking at, said that there's 6 main roles. There's initiators, there's users, there's buyers, there's deciders, and there's gatekeepers. So there's lots of different ways you can email those people, right? So,
but the important thing is to think about those people and don't go into it feeling like you have to. We've got 100,000 people in our contact center database. Let's just
you really don't. You need to segment them out.
Together.
You want to go to number 2 since that's what we're talking. Yeah.
Yeah.
So essentially, you need to start thinking like those people. Okay, so somebody at the gatekeeping level, right? Like they probably have an idea of what's going on in the business, but they are trying to keep you away from the C-suite. So how do you get past that gatekeeper, right? You solve a problem that they know their boss is thinking about, or that might get you passed on, or at least you got to be nice to them. If you're going to someone at the field level, you know, think about what might be affecting their day. And once you get one person to tell you that X problem is affecting their day, go ask, A through Z, everybody else, if they're also feeling it, so that you're building a stronger use case when you get to that, when you do get to power.
Yeah, and that all to me, the first tip. So thinking about your profiling your customers and thinking like a buyer, that's all in service of number 3 here, which is segmentation.
Hey,
And you first need to think about who you want to target and what they're like, and then you need to segment them.
yep.
And why this is really interesting to me, and why I think something like Bullhorn or automation especially is powerful, is because you've got some tools to do that in Bullhorn, especially if you've maintained a good database. So what I'm curious about, I guess from your perspective, is what are some of the best ways or the best fields or filters that we can think about in Bullhorn to target clients? Let's say
Yeah, I think segment
C-suite
one is,
clients or something like that.
well, segment one is, are they a customer or not? Or are they a prospect? Right. And then if they are a prospect, what stage of familiarity do they have with your business and your solution? And obviously who you're emailing, right? What role you're emailing. And then if you go to your customers, how good of a relationship, and are we really deep, or do we need to get, like, what's your goal with them? Do we need to get deeper? Right? Like, we have one hiring manager at a company, we need 10. Or are we brand new and we just want to build trust and get them familiar with who we are, and um, work to build that relationship? So what's your goal, right? I think you can segment off what your goal is with your customers, and then where they are in the buying, in the working with you process for your prospects. So
Yeah.
I think,
So when you're building a list in Bullhorn Automation, and you want to build a segment or something,
what field you
you
want to
have
target?
you have at your disposal essentially any field in Bullhorn. So what we're talking about, building a list, an email marketing list to clients, so B2B
Yep.
marketing. The top level things will be your company status, you mentioned, right? So are
Yep.
they
Always
active?
status.
Are they passive, right? So both your company status and your contact status. And so, first step is to make sure you're filling those out, and that the contacts that you have in there as status of active are actually ones that you're actively working with. And then
Yep.
down one level from that, maybe, you
Title.
mentioned people, the title, right? So that job title field in Bullhorn under your contacts, but also people, you mentioned people that you're actively working with. So these would be easy triggers. There would be people that you have submissions with, people that
Yeah.
you've had interviews with, obviously people that you've had placements with. But if you want to, make that more of a somebody, if you want to market to obviously people that are leads, maybe that you've never closed or got a check from, those would be people that you've submitted candidates to in the past,
Yeah.
say, the
Maybe.
past 12 months or the past 2 years.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's lots of different ways to look at it, and it's just really what's your, maybe it's limited by what your data set will support, because your data set's probably in some shape, maybe not. If we had a grade A to B, maybe there's very few A's, but there's a lot of like B minuses, C pluses, C's, right? So the bell curve doesn't lie. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't think everyone's an F. So I think that you have this great opportunity to just understand what you are, and you can do some basic stuff to segment this and communicate. And I think, right, if you're going to send talent,
Mm-hmm.
you could, go to people that you maybe worked with in the past but haven't worked with recently, and say, hey, we've placed these people recently, and then we have these people available. Like, is that going to solve your needs, right? Can we help guide you to less people issues, less talent issues?
Yeah,
So,
or something, like I see we've submitted candidates like this to you before, and it hasn't worked out. Here's some more that you might want to look at,
yeah,
if you're still hiring this type of talent.
yeah, and
Or here's some past
this role
successes.
got pretty far with you. Are you still looking for this? Here's somebody that just came available.
Yeah, and the other thing that I think a lot of people or a lot of companies, especially here in the U.S., overlook is leads. So if you have
Ooh, there
that
now you're
leads,
talking.
go deep Bullhorn cut. If you've got leads enabled in Bullhorn, uh, that essentially enables an entire separate uh, section in Bullhorn, right, where you can add leads and assign them specific statuses and then convert them into contacts.
Who prospects the
So
leads? That is a Bullhorn customer. I'm
yeah,
ready. I'm ready for a survey.
we you do we want to know the answer?
No, I don't actually.
But I think one of the really cool things and opportunities, that recruitment companies that I've worked with in the past have done is, tasking their recruiters to add leads into the system, maybe 5 leads a week or something like that. And the easiest place to find those obviously is at the bottom of resumes, right? When candidates put in
References.
references, and those
Yeah.
references are with competitors. And you're able to add those into Bullhorn. You've got an email address for them probably, and that's a great place to start because they obviously just lost somebody because you were trying to hire them and they used to work there. And so it's a great place to start with generating leads and then by extension creating lists.
All right.
To market to.
Yeah, and I think we've kind of hit on this already, right? Like where this person is or where this company is in their buying or awareness of your business. So, if you and you probably should do this, right? Like this kind of helps if you're using opportunities in Bullhorn, maybe going back to that. But you could do it based on company stage, maybe, or contact stage. But like, are they net new? Like, did they just come into your system? You have no idea who they are. Sorry, and you're just trying to build awareness, or they've met you before. You've had a meeting. They know what we solve, but they're not ready to make a decision. And then you have
Mm-hmm.
like this is like now we're going down a funnel. Now you have the people in the decision stage, right? They're deciding who to work with. They have open, they've already identified that they're going to use a staffing company. They're just trying to figure out who they're going to give uh, their business to. So that's decision making. And then once they're customers, got to keep talking to them. I think that this is key, right? Like keep adding value because we're in, let's be honest, we're in retention stage of, in terms of where we are economically, right? Like adding new logos is not going to be fun. You're probably going to have to hold on better than you are going to be hunting. So doing a good job of farming, and you can use automation for this. Obviously, is a great way to do that. So you just know where they are in the buying journey, and again, identify where they are, even if they've already bought. Like retaining customers can have multiple journeys as well.
Yeah, and also I might suggest that you don't want to start off, and if we're talking about specifically marketing talent to them, you don't necessarily want to start off in that first email with blasting them with candidates you have available. You have to build some awareness,
Yeah.
right? You want to have a campaign that introduces them to what you're doing, and then eventually starts marketing candidates to them.
Tim, you hear from a lot of staffing agencies, but
I
we do
do.
things a little bit differently in that we don't just tell you that we have great talent. We're going to show you who we've recently placed. We're also going to show you the available talent we have coming up. So, um, if you want to keep getting these emails, just let us know, and we will send you links to see who we placed. It'll be blinded out, so don't worry. You're not going to be able to steal my talent.
Hmm.
But we're going to prove to you that we are the agency to work with.
Who wouldn't want, in today's hands-off, passive sort of buying,
The buyer led sales.
yeah, to be able to just have lists of candidates that you can take a look at, and if you're interested, then you reach out.
Yeah, I totally agree. All right, the
E-
last
Email
one.
templates. Second to last one. Email
Just
templates.
oh yeah, keep it simple, right? Like don't make your life miserable. Use templates. Bullhorn automation allows for it. You can template notes in Bullhorn. You can template submissions in Bullhorn. You could template emails in Bullhorn and send them out. But like, just don't make your life difficult. Figure out what types of emails you're going to send and build templates.
Yeah, and with skill marketing or 3D IQ in particular, remember that we've got an automation and an integration built into Bullhorn automation. So that means that you can customize the templates you're sending out to make sure that each client that receives an email is going to get one that's unique to them, so that you can track their behavior. And that's really easy to do in Bullhorn automation. We've tried to make that simple so you can customize those templates.
Yep.
And then automation, right?
Yeah.
That's going to help you save time.
Bing, bing, bing.
It's going to help you segment, right? Especially, you know, you don't want to have to go and build a new list or new automation every time you want to market to a different segment of people. So if you've got those triggers set up in Bullhorn, you know, oh, this person's an executive, this person's a manager, this person's in engineering, this person's in HR. If you could start making those segments in Bullhorn for your contacts, then when it comes time to automate, you're just picking the segment you want them to go to, right? And then each of them is going to get potentially, again, when we're talking about skill marketing, a segmented list of candidates tailored to that market, right? So you're not just sending them at everybody you have available. You're sending marketing people, marketing talent. You're sending HR people, HR talent. You're sending engineers, engineering talent, engineering managers, right? Yeah. It's all about giving them something that they actually want and that they can consume.
Yeah, and then maybe some like really quick, you know, some really obviously bigger tips. This is automation's fantastic, but like obviously make sure you write a good subject line. Make sure it's personalized as much as you can, you know, and make sure it's scannable. I think that this goes for social media and for emails, right? Like if you think about the way that people read social media posts, if you're writing a paragraph that I can't pull out the main facts from, like you're kind of missing the point. So like people are not reading in paragraphs anymore. They're scanning, right? So it needs to be single, you know, very quick and easy to read lines. And also just don't write really long emails. Please don't be that person. No one wants to read your really long email.
And my single tip that I'll offer is be conversational.
Oh yeah, good job. I totally lost that one.
Talk like a person, especially when it's so easy to just have AI generate it. I think people have gotten really good really quickly at sort of picking out that AI cadence. They can, unless you've done a really good job of honing in that prompt or whatever it is that's building the AI or building the emails. It can be kind of easy to fish those out, I think.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, we made it under 20 minutes, Tim. So this was a great win for Tuesdays at 2. If you have any questions about any of those things that Tim and I just spoke about, happy to chat with you. And if you haven't been following our blog, you should go and follow it because we are writing lots of money-generating truths that you should be paying attention to in it the last couple of weeks. Is that how you would describe it?
I would, but they'll have to go there to verify that, of course.
Yeah. You can tell us if we're wrong. We're happy to be wrong. We're happy to be right. We're just happy to help. All right, Tim. Thank you, sir. You stay warm over there.
All right. See you next time.
Bye, guys.